to these people just to stay alive, because they run everything. So the Ukraine, because they're brighter in Europe than they are here, the Ukraine said, no, we're not joining. So right away what happens in the Ukraine? The little bankers' war starts up, okay? They're behind, they have instigated every war. In another class, when we go into the assassinations, I have the whole history of what they've done since the beginning, okay? So there's the brick, and of course, oh, and by the way, they're bringing GMOs into Africa now, okay? And they're bringing GMOs into Iraq, okay? So it's all, you see, the weather people and the GMO people and the bankers all work together. I told you about the futures. They're making millions in futures because they know which crops will fail because they run the weather. It's somebody looking at this planet from, you know, some civilization. We don't have one. But he's saying, oh my God, this planet is going under. Everybody's dying. It's going to be charred oil. These people are crushing everyone with debt. You don't need a chain on you when there's debt. You don't need the chain. So Harper is siding with the ones in the Mideast, Israel especially. He's siding with them because as long as the Middle East is total chaos, he will be able to push that scum that they call oil that's out in Alberta. That will mean he can push that stuff on the world that's out there. It's a killer. It's sticky. It's not even oil. You can't even clean it up. But as long as there's chaos in the Middle East, that's why he backs Israel all the way. It's to do with money. And they're going to be selling that poison all over the globe when, within 50 miles of the tar sands, I think it was 5 years ago, the head of the natives out there came and talked here. He said, not just single natives are dying, but families are dying. He said, our pets are dying. They're all around the tar sands. He said, we're dying of cancers. And he said, even towns 50 miles away, people are full of cancers. And this is what the tar sands are doing. And Harper, do you think anyone's even mentioned that? There was a huge native thing at the school here. The guy spoke to about 1,000 people in the Med-Sci building. He said, we're dying off like flies and we can't eat anything. He said, everything around us is poisoned. Animals, whatever. Anything near that tar sands within 50 miles, all dying of cancers. And if it keeps being chaotic over there, Harper will be able to push it all the way, okay? So, what a nasty little moron, okay? So that's another thing. He wants us, and right now, he's trying to get us into the EU. I'm trying to find out. I have to call Elizabeth May. She knows how the negotiations are going. But Harper, yes, he's already made a contract with China, and we're going to have to give all kinds of concessions, and China won't have to. Now he's on the EU, okay? And of course, it doesn't matter to him that China's got the highest rate of, or they're killing whole groups of people so they can sell the organs. They have a huge, huge organ selling trade in China. So Harper is trying to push us into the EU. Now, what does this mean? This is the most important thing, and it all ties in with the Rothschild banks. Now, every one of these countries didn't have one. Now they're all going to have one. They're going to owe big time. Their people are going to starve, the ones that are dead already.
Sydney?
So,
Can you just mention one thing? I have a friend who knows Elizabeth May and was in touch with that party
Yeah,
passed away.
remember, this is on film, Doug. Nobody can hear you.
Okay.
Just come to me after, okay? We can't do any questions while this is rolling because it won't make sense. They won't hear the questioner, and I'll be standing here staring like I'm in a feud. So we can't have any questions during that. So I'm saying, what Harper wants, well, when they started their party, they called it the Canadian something reform. Anyway, it spelled crap. The party spelled crap at the beginning, so then they changed it. So he wants us in the EU. He's in favor of everything Israel does, because the Middle East will be nothing but rebels soon. Because if we join the EU, we will be part of this cabal, and we will not be allowed to use our Bank of Canada ever. The whole point will be moot. The class action we've got going now, the people behind us, we have a hope now of getting our own bank back. So Harper, he has now decided, or he doesn't think, somebody's telling him, okay? So they're telling this little bum boy here, get us into the EU because that will stop in the tracks. It will stop the whole action against the Bank of Canada. It won't matter anymore. We're not allowed. We have to borrow from this guy if we are in the EU. And then after we join that, then they want the North American Union. And what does that mean? Well, the North American Union means there's going to be a highway all the way from Mexico, right up through the States and up through Canada to Churchill. Now, I have the whole file on this. In fact, I have the DVD on this. And while that highway will be 12 lanes wide, along the highway will be a train. And all the way up through will be depots, and all these, and I have all the facts, and some of these depots will be some of the old camps that the Japanese were in during the war. These have all been refurbished. So this 12-lane highway going right through Texas, it's still being built, although they're not saying a word about it. It will have different depots, and also these trains have been refurbished. So use your imagination. The whole terrorism thing, see, all this stuff about fighting terrorism, that is so intensely stupid. Terrorism is a strategy. That's all it is. It's a strategy that people use. Individuals, countries, corporations, you name it. It simply means we're going to have an example so that everyone else will live in fear. And then they will do what we want. And if it's not corporate, then they'll believe my government will save me. Well, what a lot of crap that is. This is a corporate government. They work hand in glove. When we get to the amount of money they have, what they're always telling you, we're broke, we can't afford, you have no idea what the government has invested in the big corporations. They are together, they're in bed together. We're under fascism, okay? It might be a feel-good fascism. We get to hear all these phony, movie-like things, oh, we're fighting and all the funerals that last a week, like 1,000 people could die of starvation tomorrow. You think they'd have any memorial? It's about terrorism. The poor little guy that was killed, he's being used now to push this terrorism fear. They'll use anything. And when it comes right down to it, it's about control, power. That's what it's about. What's this about? Money. What's this about? Their money. It's all about these phony dollars, and they want to keep going. And they'll do anything to keep going. I mean, you've got it in your first paper here. This is absolutely a fact. Central banks are the real target for the West's imperial wars. And every country here that has a central bank that belonged to the government and the people got their proceeds from oil, they're all going to have the private bank in there when those wars, they do now. One by one, they're going to have a Rothschild setup. They're going to be in debt. Their people are not going to be educated. They're going to have the fundamentalists in there running everything. They use the fundamentalists. They use them. The fundamentalists aren't behind this. The religions are used. They're pawns. They're tools, okay? I don't care what religion it is. A fundamentalist, you talk to them sometimes. They're not even up to the medieval. They're not even that far along. I've